We are back, baby. This is what I'm talking about. A return to glory, the finals, season 4. It's your boy, the Gumbuck. In this video, I'm going to talk about just my experience from the pre-test for season 4. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of like the changes and some of the things that I detected with some of the meta and like gadget changes and things like that. I'm going to save that for the actual release of Season 4 when they give us the patch note. So, you know, because there might be some changes from here to there anyway. And, you know, I'll get into the weeds on the actual kind of nuts and bolts and numbers, you know, when the actual season comes out. So look, you know, stay tuned for that video. This video is just going to be about like my vibes, like what I felt coming out of that. I did also pre-test Season 3. That was the first season I got to pre-test. And I learned some things after going through that pre-test. And then later, as the season kind of developed, how my opinions kind of changed, like, let's say, of Kyoto as a map. And I gotta be honest, I've kind of, like, not really been making content toward the end of Season 3 because, you know, like, Embark took this vacation. We got a lot of patches that were just kind of bare bones. We didn't see, like, a ton of changes to any of the utils and the weapons and the meta, etc. And then not only that, there was just like a lot of negative energy surrounding Season 3 in terms of like what they did with changing ranked, you know, and we're not going to get into that because that's not what this video is about. Like I'm coming with positive energy because I got to say Season 4 feels like the comeback season in a lot of ways. I've got a couple of gripes, but I'll save that more toward the end. So let's just start off by discussing some of the dope shit. Is just the drip, man. Like the aesthetics going into this season, they're returning to like that game show feel, the game show theme and vibe. You know what this game was essentially birthed on was that kind of game show stuff, and that was great. So the soundtrack is just. The soundtrack hits. I don't know if you heard some of those tracks that leaked, the OSTs, but that's dope. They bump. I'm loving that. And all of the new aesthetic, like the game cards or the player cards rather, those all saw a really big upgrade. A lot of people say it's kind of like, oh, what's that kind of game that like people think is popular? Apex. You know, there's some similarities there, but anyways, it just looks really cool. We got to preview the store, and at least I think what it's going to be like the store in week 1, which everything in there is like really dope. I think the battle pass, I'm going to just glance through that. A couple little battle pass stuff here. The battle pass I think is better than last season. Last season's felt like a lot of just recolors of the new weapons that they dropped. Whereas this season feels like we're getting a lot more variance, and they kind of like upped it a little bit. They upped the ante on the aesthetics. And of course, you know, a big deal from the player base was wanting beards. So we've got facial hair. I presume we're going to see a lot of bearded women come out because, you know, people like to get unhinged with their skins and their drip. But look, you know, aesthetically, just from like the home screen, everything that they've done, the main background, the music, the vibe, the new weapon skins, all of that stuff feels really strong, really, really dope. And then, of course, I think they listened to the community because I know there was a lot of talk and some videos and stuff made about having like a sponsored track to go down. And they listened. So we're getting a version of that. Hopefully, it's just like a tier 1 version of what this sponsor system can look like in the future. I hope it gets a lot more in depth. I hope that maybe we can even unlock certain or special utilities and gadgets, or that's the same thing, utilities and gadgets, specializations, gadgets, and those kinds of things that are specific to sponsors. Like that would be neat, or even like maybe weapon add-ons. So like, let's say next season they give us options like Osbus, but I could go back maybe and pick Halto if I wanted to, and get like a weapon unlock or something like that. That would be kind of neat. But nonetheless, that's a really cool addition. That's another grindy thing that's for free. So of course, you know, Embark's given us the option to buy the battle pass that, you know, has its own grindy element to it. And, you know, they follow suit with the template of if you buy the battle pass once, you can earn enough multi-bucks or coins in there to essentially buy the battle pass forever. So it kind of is free in a way. So, like, that's cool. And then now they added the sponsor themed, so you can pick one of the 3 sponsors between Azulti or Azult, Halto or Halto, and Ingimo, right? And they have their own kind of aesthetics and things that go with that specifically. And that's cool, man, because that's all free aesthetics that we get just in another thing for us to grind. And they'll have their own contracts and stuff like that that are specific to whichever sponsor you choose. And then naturally, like, all the master circuit stuff is returning. The you know, the daily contracts, all that stuff is returning. So all of that looks really cool. There's just a complete kind of like UI interface upgrade to everything. The menu systems, the player cards, all of these things just got like a big facelift in the right direction. Like, I think it looks super, super rad. But, you know, the cool aesthetics only goes so far. Like, that's nice, that's fine and dandy. It gives us a little more like something to grind for if that's your bag. But, you know, that's not everything. In fact, it's probably just a small part. The big bulk of the sand that we have to discuss here is the gameplay. Like, what are the changes there? Because that's what really matters. Now, the only thing that we've really seen to shake up gameplay, like actual in-game play, is the weapons. So we've got 3 new weapons and no new gadgets and no new specializations. More on that part later. So first, let's talk weps. The light got the M26 shoddy boom body. This feels a lot like the model 1887. And I kind of think it's going to make the existing light shotgun obsolete. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take. Tell me in the comments. But the fact that this weapon is so much more forgiving than the shotgun that we have now is a light. Feels a lot like the model. It takes 1 more shot to kill. So it's like, you know, 2 shots for the light, anywhere, body or head. 3 shots for the medium and 3 shots for the heavy. Now here's the difference is, you know, like I said, in terms of the existing shotgun that we have now for the light, very unforgiving. You get 2 shots in the barrel, you miss, you've got a crazy long reload time. So you better hope that you've got some way to have like mobility to save your ass to come back with that 3rd shot if you need it. Whereas this weapon, again, it just felt just like the model to me. Subtle changes. I think it doesn't have as much range. The spread is slightly different, but the vibe just kind of felt a lot like it. And out of the 3 weapons in the 3 classes, I think I did the best when I was playing light with this shotgun. It was just real satisfying to explode people with it. Which I love the model 1887 as a medium too. So it felt at home. I like it. It felt strong. It felt powerful. Everything felt a little snappier anyway. I think they've kind of like upped some animation speeds. I think the TTK on everything, I think we're moving toward a little bit of a faster TTK or a lower TTK. We're not talking COD level here, but you know, so that's the M26 in a nutshell. It felt like the model to me. I really liked that addition to the light. Now moving on to the medium, we got that Pike 556, Pike 556. I don't know however you want to say it, the 556, whatever. And this essentially is a reskinned LH1. Now people were, I say people, like, because I wasn't as much, but I was getting abused by the cracked kids who were running the Pike as a medium. It is bananas. It's got crazy range. And what I think people were doing to really get like blow off with it is removing the scope and just going with the iron sights. But at the end of the day, this felt like the LH1 on the medium. In fact, it was glitching for me in the private map, or the practice range rather, where it like the scope was kind of off when I would go to aim down sights, and it literally had the same UI as the LH1. So just like the light shotgun, the M26 feels like the model. The Pike feels like the LH1. It operates in almost an identical way. And this, I don't know, man. This might be kind of OP for the medium. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think what I'm afraid of is this is going to be kind of like the early seasons with the FCAR where you just have to run this weapon. I'm not sure, though. And then... So last but not least, we got the 50 cal Akimbos, the dual Deagles, and this was just the coolest. Out of all three, this one was just the absolute fucking John Wick style, just the coolest addition to maybe the coolest weapon in the game, just in terms of like Riz, because everything about it was cool. I was just rad. How many times am I going to say cool? Maybe make it a drinking game if you're going to rewatch this video, because you want to give me the like and the sub and you want to watch this a couple of times because you're feeling it. But anyways, all of the animations, the reload animation, just everything about the Desert Eagles felt like it was fun, a lot of fun, and it does shred at close range. Now it's not an alt click, so it's not like a individually fired weapon, whether you're using a mouse or the controller. What I mean by that is like the right trigger will do the right gun and the left trigger does the right trigger does the right gun, left trigger does the left gun. Not that way. It's an aim down sight, so your alt click or the left trigger is going to aim down sights, and it's just one button to fire, and it automatically alt fires for you. I don't know why I went so in depth in explaining that, but nonetheless, it's got a high DPS, close range. It starts to get a little squirrely and some damage fall off, maybe around 30 yards. But it can barrel people. Like, you can really tear them up, and it just felt like it made you feel cool. Like, it made you feel like John Wick, and it just was a blast. Now, the one thing I do like about all three of these weapons is immediately out the gate they feel viable. Like, they feel really good. They feel like they fit within the game, and they feel kind of like almost on the strong end of the spectrum in terms of their peers, or each weapon for each class. But I like that. I wish they had done that with every new weapon that they introduced. Make them kind of OP and then tune them back a little bit throughout the season. Because then that gives us time to play with a new weapon that's got, different dynamic, different pacing and all that kind of stuff. Whereas when you introduce something like the 93R, which is absolute dog shit, even to this day, they've not done anything to fix that weapon. It's like it never gets played with. Like, it's useless, and you just end up getting your ass whooped if you try to implement it into your playstyle. So, like, I've been kind of asking for them, like, hey, when you drop new weps, make them OP. That way they get a lot of face time, and then tune them back a little bit to fit within the rest of the meta or the sandbox. And I think they've done that here, so we're going to see how that goes. But I will say I like all three of them. I think they're great additions. They're going to be a lot of fun. And the only one you might... the light with that shoddy might be abused and a little toxic. The Pike, probably, again, you're going to be probably pissed off playing against a Pike player who's cracked with it. But the Akimbos, I feel like that was maybe the best balanced one. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just sitting here goofing and talking. Now, the fact that they didn't put any new gadgets or specializations, I'm a little bummed out about, not gonna lie. Like, it's not ruining the season for me by any means. I'm still just like super excited. Like, I'm all in, baby. I mentioned earlier, towards the end of season 3, I kind of stopped making content. My heart just wasn't in it. Just the vibes weren't great. We weren't getting a lot of content changes in the patches. But like season 4, I am amped up 10x, 120%, LFG, Deadpool Wolverine. Let's fucking go. I am excited, boys. I'm pumped for this, so don't get it twisted. When I say that, I'm a little, ever so slightly, minusculely bummed that they did not add specializations or gadgets. The new weapons, I think, are dope. I like every single one of the new weapon additions. Oh gosh, I almost forgot the scopes. Oh, how are you going to let me do that? How are you going to let me finish this video without talking about the scopes? Oh snap. All right, so here's the other bummer about that player pre-test is that they didn't give us the multi-bucks to unlock all the scopes. We had to earn them as we played, so I did only test a few of the scopes out. The ones I was most interested to test were the scopes for the AKM. They've got like the red dot hollow scope, and then the scope for the FAMAS. You get basically that XP54 scope for the FAMAS. And I didn't feel a change on the AKM scope, or the scope on the AKM was like really shook it up for me. But the scope on the FAMAS I thought was mwah, chef's kiss. Like, that's gonna be my new jam, because the FAMAS, after some tuning, does shred, and having that scope on it felt just so crispy. So like, I didn't get to dive into a lot of the different scopes. You can change the LH1 scope, you can change the M11, you could put a hollow red dot on the M11. I think that is going to shred, and it actually might make that M11 a contender to fight against the XP54. I don't know, the jury is out. And then of course, if a weapon has a scope, you can take it off and make it an iron sights, except the sniper rifle for the light. You can't fuck with that one at all. So I got to try some of the scopes. I think that change is really, really cool. Now, what I was kind of thinking is that if you do add a scope to an iron sights weapon, it might change an element of that weapon to kind of balance out the fact you now have a scope. For instance, maybe making the reload a little longer, or the recoil change ever so slightly. It didn't do that. That's fine. We'll see how it goes, because at the end of the day, like, if you could put a scope on the FAMAS, man, that really puts some of the other things in the dirt, like the FCAR. I don't know. But that's just kind of all of this whole video. Take it with a grain of salt. This is just me ranting and raving about my little window snapshot of the experience of my pre-test on Season 4. I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, you are a certified G. And in that case, if you're not subscribed, you might as well at this point. And like the video and stuff. And stay tuned for more, because your boy, the Gunbuck, is back. Season 4. Let's go.